Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. Antoinette, can we do a roll call?
Mr. Burns?
Here.
Mr. Cook?
Present.
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here. We're going to start off tonight with a presentation from the New York Rural Water Association. Thank you.
Hand out to the board and other people here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
My name is Steve Winkley, and my title is Source Water Protection Specialist. I'm actually a hydrogeologist, and I work for a nonprofit organization called the New York Rural Water Association. We're an association of towns, much like Patterson, and towns and villages across New York State. Some of those towns and villages have water and wastewater systems. Some don't. But basically, we have several technical assistance programs that are funded by our taxpayer money, both at the federal and state level. And basically, what I'm charged to do, this is my 21st year doing it, is to do source water protection, drinking water source protection, federally funded, and I provide free assistance to communities on coming up with what we call source water protection plans, or think about source water as what you drink. It's the drinking water sources. And the reason I'm here tonight, I was contacted by a person with Senator Murphy's office, I believe it was, about a local water quality issue here in Patterson. And originally they had contacted one of our state programs, but actually what I do is a much better fit for possibly helping. I don't work with individual homeowners, I work with communities. So what I'm here tonight to do is kind of give you a brief introduction to our program and see if it's something the town might be interested in working with us on. I gave you two handouts, and I have a few extras. The first is a fact sheet about our program. You can read it at your leisure later. Basically, it just kind of gives what I'm talking about, so you can look at it when you, in your spare time. But I've kind of developed a set of questions that I do this all across the state, basically from almost the southernmost place I've worked, but I also work up to the Canadian border, out to Buffalo, all over the state. Right now, the closest other place I'm working with is Wappingers Falls, which is to the north of here. But I work all over the state doing drinking water protection programs. So the first question I always get asked, what are the costs of doing a source water protection program? There are no costs to do it. Like I said, it's funded by our taxpayer money. We go to Congress every year, and like I said, this is the 21st year I've been doing this. So right now, there's a lot of attention on drinking water issues. Of course, you've all heard about the issue with lead out in Michigan. Up where I live in the Capital District, a couple hours north of here, we've had a big issue with what we call PFOA. We've got issues now in Newburgh, found PFOS. PFOS is a chemical found in firefighting foam. PFOA is a chemical found in basically Teflon products. Make a long story short, there's a lot of attention right now on drinking water protection. And so ours is the only program out there that provides this help to communities. And so there is no cost. The only cost that may be involved if you want to make additional copies of reports that I produce or want to run off some maps or something at some point. But basically what the program provides is me, myself, and I to do this work. And right now I'm working with about 15 other communities, so I'm quite busy right now. Basically, what's involved with the source water protection plan, it's facilitated, written basically by me, but it's just not our plan. We insist that there's a buy-in with the local community. So the first thing I ask, it's not a requirement actually of our program, but I've been doing this for the last few years, is number one here is that the town would pass a motion or resolution basically to work with us, and also to form a planning team to work with us. And the team would consist of individuals that would provide information to me, review maps and other reports that I basically draft plans that I come up with, provide direction to me on recommendations, and so that it's not just me working in a vacuum, that there's a tie-in to the community. And we would meet every 2 or 3 months, and I would give you updates, and you would feed me information. There would also be a meeting, what we call a protection workshop, where that planning team would meet with me, but we'd also open it to county and state officials, for example, the health department and DEC, et cetera, and probably advertise that as a public meeting just to get feedback from folks in the community to, again, find out for me what the issues are locally here in Patterson. Because like I said, I work all across the state, and so every community is different. But basically what I would do for the town of Patterson at no cost is compile all kinds of information in item 3 here. I would compile information on public water systems. There's a lot of public water systems, believe it or not, in the town of Patterson, over 20. There's a lot of data both on the sources of water, and because they're regulated and they're required to do testing, there's quite a bit of information on water quality from them. In many towns, I've conducted an online drinking water supply survey. I found that to be a fairly effective tool to not only get people to understand why it's important to protect their water and why their water is important, but I'm also trying to get information. Only since 2000 has it been required that water well drillers submit information on wells. So there's a lot of information on older wells that I would like to be able to get at. Also, to get back to that, the water well database, it's been a requirement since 2000 that anytime a well is drilled, a record of that well goes to the state, DEC, and to the homeowner, and that's useful information, and then we get that. The U.S. Geological Survey has done some studies. We try to get information from local water well contractors. Like I said, I'm a hydrogeologist, so I do a lot of mapping, look at what's existing for mapping, and then I would spend quite a bit of time in the community looking at land uses, the geology, trying to basically come up with a comprehensive picture of, in this case, this town is 100% dependent on groundwater, so it would be looking at your groundwater resources. Inventorying potential sources of contamination and land use, and then finally develop strategies to protect and possibly, a goal would be to improve drinking water sources in town. So basically, I think, Rich, we talked a little bit. What would be the outcomes of this? I would hope that there would be a much better understanding of the nature of groundwater quality and quantity issues in town. I was looking at your comprehensive plan, which I don't know if you've got a more recent one, but the one I saw on your website, there was a one-page map on groundwater. So you would get a whole lot more than that. You get a lot of maps and a lot of data. We try to determine what the possible sources are of the water quality. Is it naturally occurring? Is it man-made? For example, already I've reached out to, I have a master's degree from Syracuse. I've reached out to my thesis advisor, who's a hydrogeochemist, shared with him some results of some data. He says it's fascinating around here. So he's leaning toward that it's naturally occurring, but begs the reason, why is it happening? Those are the types of questions I attempt to answer. Basically, you know, there's also to what extent are groundwater resources vulnerable to contamination or depletion? When everyone is dependent on groundwater, it's important to know if that is vulnerable to contamination or depletion. And also, it's always for economic development purposes. Since you are dependent on groundwater, are there areas where you might be able to develop a large producing wells to attract industry, commerce, that kind of thing? And the overall is, I have to show that the town took some steps to better protect their drinking water. And that could be as simple as educating folks on where their water comes from and why it's important to protect it. But we would also make some recommendations to the town on how to protect it. And if it's possible, I understand that there are areas with poor water quality. We would look at, I can't very well change what's in the ground already, but there may be other areas where there's better water, and so there might be some solutions down the road. I'm not promising anything. All I'm promising is that I'll be studying the issues and coming up with some thoughts. Like I said, I'm really busy right now, and just so you know, if you were to say, yes, I want to do it, it would probably still take 12 to 18 months from this point forward. And that's just, I say that, and I'm still working with some communities 2 years down the road. And I'm just one person to cover the whole state, and there's a lot of demand out there. So that said, you know, if there's if we get a group of people that are really into it, and they can push me, maybe we can get it done quicker than a year. But I don't want to promise something and then not deliver it. But it is free. So if I was a consultant and I was saying 12 months to a year, you'd probably be not happy with me. But I am basically a public servant, and that's what I can do right now. So that's why I came tonight, just to present some information. If you're interested, the next step I think would be and I have examples of resolutions that other towns and villages have adopted, but it's a simple thing. And to answer any questions that you may have about the process. Again, it would be a resolution and then appointing a committee. For example, some towns I've worked with, I'll have a representative from the town board, representative from the planning board, representative from the zoning board, planning department, water department, different facets of the town, representative kind of general, like a citizen, and then we would pull in resources from the county, like the county health department, et cetera. So those are just some ideas. But do you have any questions for me at this point?
Steve, first I'd like to thank you for coming down here
Sure.
all this way. I really appreciate it. I can say that, the town of Patterson in the past has studied groundwater a number of different times. We have a lot of documentation I think we can provide you to help you out, starting with the map in the back that was the result of a landfill being proposed in the town of Patterson in 1989. And
a lot of studies done probably for that.
Yep. So I think any time that we can better understand our resources and how to protect them is something we need to take seriously and do, and certainly the price is right. So it's a great price.
Just because the price is right doesn't mean, I've been fighting this for 20 years, that the work, I'd be glad to show you other examples, but I'm pretty proud of the work product. It's not, I've been told, well, I'm not going to boast, but it's professional.
Sure.
Could you send us an example?
Sure.
Just for just for interest.
You got it.
Thank you.
So I know, having done this for a long time in the town of Patterson, we have some issues with groundwater in the town of Patterson. We have rising sodium chloride levels everywhere in the town. We have nitrate issues over in Putnam Lake. We have some hot spots, including the end of Sapling Court, which we're still wrestling with. Nobody seems to be able to answer that question. So anything you can help to shed light. And at the next meeting, I intend to propose a resolution to, engage your services.
Okay.
So-
Yeah, there's no formal contract or anything. It's just a lot of places, it used to be just like, okay, Steve, get going. But now I do like to do the resolution, so there's a record of it. And there's a level of commitment that's been passed by. And yeah, a key point is compiling all this information. There's nothing, some of it's very anecdotal sometimes. So this area, for example, used to be a lot of iron mining way back. I'm interested in that. So if we do this, any information is useful information. Unfortunately, I don't have a budget where I can go out and start drilling wells and doing testing and all that. So that's why this is the one chance to compile everything. So, and just to, I think I mentioned it, everything I do is based on GIS, Geographic Information Systems. Everything is digital. I don't know if the town has a GIS, but
We do.
So all the maps I make, you'll be able to overlay them with all your parcels and zoning and all that. So,
Great.
Great.
okay.
Sounds great.
Any questions?
Great.
So I'll look for a good example and email it
Anybody
down.
in the audience have any questions?
You
Okay.
You obviously did a good job explaining. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, can I get a motion on the reports?
I'll make a motion that the town board approve the various reports on our agenda for May 11th, 2016. So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I just would like to point out that the Putnam Lake Fire Department has already submitted their first quarter report. We accepted that last meeting, so
So there's none on this.
both fire departments are where we need them to be. Supervisor's report, we don't have one at this point. Can I get a motion on the minutes?
Sure, I'll make a motion that we accept the public hearing minutes for the Fire Department 2016 contracts from April 27th, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I'll make a motion on the town board meeting minutes of April 13th and April 27th, 2016. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Somebody like to audit the bills?
I will make a motion that the town board approve abstract number 8 dated April 29th, 2016 in the amount of $224,662.26. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Cook?
Okay. First on the agenda is concerns the 45th Annual Putnam County 4-H Fair. And the Putnam County 4-H Fair is looking for sponsorships in various categories, which they do on an annual basis. There's looking for money for tent sponsors, ribbons, animal pens and cages, showmanship trophies, trolley stop, T-shirts, awards, spirit awards,
Etc.
general. In the past, the town has made a sponsorship as it relates to one of the classifications of livestock, in honor of one of our former councilmen, who will go unnamed. However, this year, I would like to suggest to this board that perhaps we sponsor under 4-H Fair Spirit Awards, let's say face painting for the young children who come to the fair. I think we've done our share of
Rabbit herding?
all
Sure.
sorts of
Where's that Wally Wabbit?
yeah, goodies there. So, if everybody likes that idea,
Sure.
no
Sure.
problem with the idea.
Is that a motion?
I will make a motion that the town board sponsor a 4-H Fair Spirit Award for face painting. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next, we have a memo from our town clerk and a resolution as it relates to Welsh Sanitation Royal Carting bid bond for garbage distribution. And Antoinette's memo is basically Welsh Sanitation Royal Carting contract has been duly executed and is on file in the town clerk's office. Therefore, the town may release the bid bond in the amount of $55,000. So I will make a motion to do that according to the resolution we have before us, and make a motion that we approve the resolution as read to return the bid bond of $55,000 to Welsh Sanitation Service. So,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Anything else, Charles?
Mr. Rogan?
All right, thank you. Okay, I have a number of requests from the Veterans Memorial Park District. The first is a letter requesting to hire or rehire lifeguards for this season. The names, oh, this is going to kill me, are Robert Zarachuk, Nicholas Booth, James O'Connell, Samuel Callahan, Christopher Ravo, Catherine Leonard, Robert Constantino, Michael Vazella, Matthew Hockney, Hannah Burns, Emma Cassidy, and Daniel Rossi. So I will make a motion based on the chair of the Veterans Park Advisory Board, Joe Downey, that we approve those hirees for the amounts listed in the budget and for a max of 28 hours per week. So moved.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. Sticking with the Veterans Park Advisory Board, we had discussed some yearly maintenance issues recently, and we have non-bid RFP procurement request forms for the certified mulch for the play areas, and that's 275 yards from Ferris Mulch at a cost of $6,325. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We have a request for the labor rate, which the low bidder was actually the Patterson Highway Department. The labor to install the mulch was 62 hours for 7 men, so that rate was $3,496.08, and again, they were the low bidder. Worth noting, the second bid was 3 times that amount, over 3 times that amount, at $11,700. So I will make a motion, we approve that bid for $3,496.08. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And lastly, we have 2 rolls of filter fabric for the installation for Town of Patterson. That's $750. So I'll make a motion, we approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
We also have a non-bid RFP procurement request form for the purchase of a defibrillator for the park. The low bid was Cardiac Life at an amount of $1,475.75. So I will make a motion that we approve the purchase of that defibrillator.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I also have, for the sanitation department, we would like to follow the sanitation supervisor / highway supervisor's recommendation from Russell Goff to hire William Perugini to fill the position vacated by the previous permit checker. The position is 17 hours weekly, and I'll make a motion that we approve hiring Mr. Perugini. So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Say anything about Anthony?
Yeah, actually, thank you. We wanted to acknowledge the Anthony Stavrides, who had been the permit checker for the Town of Patterson Recycling Center for the last 20 plus or minus years. Anthony was diligent in his duties and was there for the residents of Patterson, and we just want to acknowledge his service to the residents, because a lot of people had contact with Anthony. He was always very polite and very friendly, and he served the town well, and we wish him very well in his future. So thank you for that opportunity. else that you would like?
Yes.
Is that the Kevin Proctor one? Yes, okay. So we also have a request from Russell Goff for the sanitation department. We have a man that's out from sanitation for a short term. We'd like to hire a sub, and that sub recommended is Kevin Proctor, and that will be at a labor rate of $26.98 for 3 days a week from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So assuming he completes all the paperwork through Sue and the appropriate testing, I would make a motion that we approve that request. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And that's it, except for announcements, which we can do at the end, I suppose.
Sure, we can just do that at the end.
Sure.
Okay, everybody has in front of them the proposed changes to the employee handbook. We've been working on this for some time. They really fall into three categories. One is we are changing the requirement for individual department heads to provide a report. This is consistent with the policy that we had adopted some time ago that required a report by the 20th of each month. The second change has to do with changes in the federal requirements as it relates to FMLA. I think I can say that by now. Essentially what it is, it allows for military caregivers to be eligible for 26 work weeks of unpaid leave with job protection. And the third area that we are changing has to do with our current medical plan. And the change involves where we would have an employee and their spouse working for the town of Patterson. And the policy is now going to be that both individuals are not going to be eligible for their own individual policies, where one spouse covers the other spouse. They are going to get one family plan, and they're not going to get medical in lieu of.
Sure.
So those
Makes
are the
sense.
three policy changes that we have for our employee handbook. We do have a resolution prepared by the town attorney. Don, you have any comments on any of this? All right, without objection, I'd like to move the resolution as though read, enter it into the minutes. Can I get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, second item on my agenda has to do with an annual audit that's performed by our town controller on all the departments. I see Mr. Downing entering the room. You're about 5 minutes too late, Joe. It's all done.
Still a good
But
list.
thanks for coming. Every year, our town controller meets with department heads who are collecting money. She audits their departments. She makes specific recommendations. I have reviewed all of her recommendations with the department heads recently, and they are all in agreement with her recommendations and have implemented them. That being the case, we have a resolution accepting the audit and the recommendations prepared by the town attorney. And again, without objection, I'd like to move that resolution as though read and enter it into the minutes. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All good stuff.
And that wraps it up for me for the moment.
All right. First item on my agenda is a modification to the compactor voucher that we signed. There was I think $10,000 worth of work for the electrical and site prep, and I think the compactor was approved for $42,000.
That's correct.
But there was some additional modifications. I believe they were now at $2,400 that had to do with fabrication work for the hopper, because the hopper was 48 inches and they had to flare it to 42 inches in order to accommodate the trucks to dump into it. So the only question I have is exactly what is the bottom line amount we're approving? Because we approved previously for $41,952.10.
We're approving the additional
$2,400. Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the expenditure of an additional $2,400 for the work that was the fabrication work which was required for the modification of the hopper. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I would just like to note that the additional amount was within the original budget, so we're still under
Yeah.
budget for all that.
Okay, next item on the agenda is our Putnam Lake Park District request. First request has to do with the approval of hiring a lifeguard manager. The Park District would like to hire Allison Lawler to manage the lifeguards during the 2016 season. The responsibilities essentially include hiring lifeguards, beach scheduling, submitting hours at town hall, everything that's basically involved in coordinating the lifeguards to be at the right time and place. Salary is $20 an hour, and it's anticipated that the work will require 10 hours of work a week. We do have those funds budgeted, so I'll make a motion to approve the hiring of Allison Lawler as the Putnam Lake Park District Lifeguard Manager as recommended by the Park District. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
I
Aye.
don't have to
Any
say
opposed?
Subject to background, I mean, it's subject to any background checks that are necessary.
Sure.
Okay. Next item on my agenda is the hiring of lifeguards for the 2016 season for Warren and Jackson beaches, which begins on May 28th and runs through September 5th. They would like to hire Sarah Catalano, Dylan Antolowski, Ashley Garcia, Monique Lawler, and Jordan Winch at $15 per hour, Katie Dolan, Katarina Pointer, Cassidy Speller at $11.17 an hour, Michael Dominguez Rudolph, Nick Wardo, Daniel Rossi, and Brian Gomez at $10.81 per hour, and Sababi Poli? Savabi Poli and Tim Catalano at $10.50 an hour. So I'll make a motion to approve those lifeguards.
Before you do that, can we
Okay.
have a short discussion?
Sure.
Will you
Sure.
second it
I'll
for
make a
discussion?
motion to approve it for discussion.
All right, go ahead.
Second for discussion.
All right. The rates that the Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board has provided are not the rates that were approved with the budget.
Oh, that was the email from Hank.
That was the
Okay.
email from Hank. These are
Corrected rates?
the penciled are the actual
Okay.
salaries that were approved with the budget. I've had a conversation with the Park Advisory Board Chair, Pat Ploger,
Okay.
and Hank today, explaining that, you know, they were approved as part of the budget. The Park Advisory Board really didn't come back to us and let us know why they wanted to amend the salaries. So at this point, we need to hire the lifeguards because we need to get them going.
Right.
The beaches are going to be opening shortly, but I am not comfortable changing the salary amounts from what the board approved last year with the budget.
So, I mean, from the looks of it, some of them are 30 cents higher and some of them are like a few cents lower. It's really,
Yeah, we're talking
De minimis.
pennies overall on the budget.
all right. So do you want me I'll just amend the recommendation to have the salaries be in accordance with those that were approved in the 2016 budget?
I'll second that.
Is that fair?
With the additional salary of Sabomi,
Poli?
because she was not in the original budget.
Okay.
So if you want to state that salary.
Okay, so an additionally to Somi Poli at $10.46 per hour. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any
And
opposed?
is there an issue with one of the gentlemen is hired for both beaches? Is it the Daniel Rossi?
We just resolved that
You
issue.
did, okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, next item, the non-bid procurement request. The Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board would like to treat the lake, would actually like to retain the services of I think it's a diver, a
Yes.
diver for the purposes of vacuum removal of weeds around certain beaches. 3 requests for proposal or requests were sent out to 3 different agencies. 2 received no response. 1, they received a response from New England Aquatic Services, which would provide the services for 12 hours at a rate of $300 per hour. So on that basis, we're making a recommendation to approve the retention of New England Aquatic Services for a sum not to exceed $3,600 for the assisted vacuum weed removal. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
But I was thinking with a long suction or breathing tube and a rake, we might be able to get it done a little cheaper. You know?
Maybe, but I
And
do want
and some
to.
weights to keep you on the bottom, obviously.
I do want to.
Who's the first one to try that?
I do want
I'll give
to.
it a whirl.
I do want to applaud the Putnam Lake Park Advisory Board for the approach that they're taking. What we're doing this year is we're using this new method, which they feel is going to do a better job with getting rid of the weeds at Warren. But we're going to use the older method over at Jackson Beach so that we have a comparison and see how they work out. So
Yeah, that's
rather than just completely switching methods and going for a higher price, which was around $8,000, they're going to take this two-pronged approach to see how it works out. So it should be interesting.
Yeah. Well, and worth noting is we've had very good success with the beaches in Putnam Lake compared to other municipalities with recent blue-green algae, etc. So keep doing the great work.
Okay, last item on my agenda is about the transfer request. We have a memo from the highway supervisor. We'd like to transfer funds to pay for the Caterpillar excavator we purchased. We currently have $48,000 in capital equipment. Would like to move $24,500 from road work to capital equipment to pay for the Caterpillar excavator. So that is the budget transfer request 18, moving $24,500 from general repairs contractual to machinery and equipment capital outlay. So I'll make a motion to approve that budget transfer request for highway as submitted. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And I believe that is all I have. I think I got them all in there.
Okay, other business. You want to do the announcements?
Sure. I love announcements. All right, first we have, everyone is invited. Patterson Day on June 5th, 2016, at the Patterson Baptist Church, 595 Route 311 in Patterson. They will have a continental breakfast at 10 a.m., Patterson Day service for all at 10:30, honoring those who serve the community. Free hot dog, roast, chili competition, chocolate dessert competition, etc. So all activities are free of charge and take place rain or shine. So it's a nice.
Without saying your name.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay.
Also wanted to, Rich, if it's okay with you, I wanted to read something that I got from the New York City DEP for their land use permits that says that May is Wetlands Awareness Month, and that in 1991 the US EPA designated May as American Wetlands Month to celebrate their vital importance to the nation's ecological, economic, and social health. As we all know, wetlands provide a wide variety of beneficial functions. They lessen flooding, help maintain stream flow, improve water quality, absorb nutrients and carbon, and provide plant and wildlife habitat. Nearly half of the nation's threatened and endangered species rely on wetlands to survive. So just wanted to make that announcement. I think it's great that the DEP put this out. They'd send this to all of the people who have access permits to use DEP lands. And they also on the website talk about upcoming trainings and free things that the DEP is sponsoring, like wetlands walks. Unfortunately, many of them are not in Patterson or Putnam, but there was one that they do family fishing days, boating season. They talk about the annual boat auction. There's a lot of things on their website, so I recommend that if people want to know a little bit about wetlands and a little bit about what the New York City DEP is doing in our community, to go to their website. They've got some great information. So, thank you. You have another one.
You're going to do those?
You should do them. You have them in your hand.
I'll tell you what. You do those, I'll do these.
Okay. This is a great one. We have the Flag Day ceremony to be held at the Brewster Elks Lodge, Tuesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. That will be on Route 22 and Milltown Road. Bring your family, friends, and neighbors to witness this most prestigious event. Refreshments will be served after the ceremony, rain or shine. That's Flag Day ceremony, Tuesday, June 14th, 6 p.m. at the Brewster Elks. It's a great event. Also at the Brewster Elks, same address, the 32nd Annual Senior Citizens Picnic, Monday, June 27th, 2016, also rain or shine, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tickets are $14, pre-purchase only. You can contact the Elks at 845-279-8936 for more information. So.
Very good. We have the Relay for Life event coming up in Patterson. That's going to be held on June 11th at the firehouse. We have downstairs a little flyer with a ticket on it. As part of the fundraising efforts for the Relay for Life event, you can purchase a monarch butterfly in honor of a loved one for $15. And the monarch butterflies are going to be released at the Patterson Relay, Patterson Fire Department, June 11th. So please come in. You know, it's a worthy cause, it's a great cause, and we hope you all will support it. And I've also been asked by our Recreation Coordinator, Mac Javaro. They have a new event down at, starting up down at the Patterson Recreation Center. It's going to be held on Fridays between 7 o'clock p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. It starts June 3rd and then goes on for several weeks. It's line dancing for beginners. So anybody who is not a line dancer but would like to learn line dancing, I'm sure there's going to be a limited number of spots in it. So please come in and sign up for the line dancing.
Dust off your boots, huh?
Dust off your boots. I know
Okay.
Miss Brown is very anxious to participate. She's a little bit country. I'm a little bit rock and roll. So.
That's good.
So, does any other board member have anything else?
I
think
do.
Charlie had something.
I have one thing. We have received a letter from State Senator Terrence Murphy. I'll just read this first paragraph. It is with great excitement that I announced my 2016 Women of Distinction program. This will give us an opportunity to recognize and honor outstanding women who have made their communities a better place through achievement in business, charitable works, education, the arts, etc., etc. You can take part in this wonderful program by nominating a woman of distinction. The board will be submitting a name to State Senator Murphy on this program. We are not going to announce that tonight because we're going to let that be a surprise for our woman of distinction, but we have a person.
You know,
Yeah,
Yep. So,
perfect. Well deserved.
So we're going to have we will have a person that will be nominated. That's it for me.
Sean,
All set, thank you.
Kevin,
Okay.
Charlie, you're all set?
I'm set.
Okay, I have one last item. Going back to the Relay for Life, I was approached by the organizers of the Relay for Life who asked for our assistance in putting up purple flags along Route 311. And I thought that was a great idea. But I also think we should extend that out a little bit because it would show our community spirit if we also put up American flags, if we can get it done in time for Memorial Day and Flag Day. So I reached out to New York State, NYSEG, sorry, and got the permits to put the flags on the poles. So we've got the permits in place.
Wow, that's great.
And I have been trying to get prices on flags, and in my opinion, the best price that we've gotten, which is $53.35 per set, which includes the mounting plate, the flagpole, and the flag, 3x5 polyester, was from Duffel Bag for an amount of $1,067. So I would like the board's authorization to purchase 20 sets of flags and the
Second.
mounting plates for $1,067. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think it's great that you got NYSEG permits. I wish DOT would take a lesson from them and be a little more amenable to.
Well, interesting you say that. Last year I had worked with the Rotary and gotten the permit for the banner. This year I reached out to DOT. I actually filed the permit for the DOT for the banner going across Route 311 for the Relay for Life, and they sent me back an email from the new regional administrator, whose new policy is there will be no banners across any state road.
Yeah, I heard they canceled Christmas also.
Yeah, well, so no more banners. So
Wow.
I'm trying to work out a scenario where we get the Relay
We'll
for
do our
Life
best.
banner up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we can hang it parallel to the road at some point
Exactly.
where we can see it and it's not, we can figure something out.
yeah, look at it.
Okay.
Okay, public recognition. Does anybody in the public have anything they wish to bring to the board?
Martin Miller, Cornwall Meadows. There are so many rumors out there regarding Acme. Does the town board have any more concrete information when they're going to open up?
Their tentative open date is still for the middle of June. I'm a little concerned because I don't see a lot of activity going on out there. But as of a few weeks ago, they were still tentatively going to open up in the middle of June.
The name went up today. They had the letters, Acme. We now have-
Did it? Did they do the facade?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
so-
great. Great.
Better sooner than later. Thank you.
Yeah, agreed.
Anyone else?
Motion to
Going
adjourn.
once?
Motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night.
Good night.